I'm a fan of theater. I like theater a lot, and I like talent. I love figuring out what people's individual superpowers are and letting them know what I think is special about them. My name is Jason Veasey. I am an actor, singer, making his directorial debut at UNC, and I graduated in '02 with a degree in musical theater. I want to be a part of new work, particularly musical theater, giving a platform to a certain type of performer that was never allowed to be or focused on. And for me, coming to direct was less about directing and more about providing possibility for the students. I had a goal to make sure that Rent isn't cast in the ways that we normally see Rent cast. And so when they go out into the world and someone says, oh, you can't be a Mark, Miracle Miles, who is my Mark, can say, yes, I can, and I have been. So I know that there's possibility that I can.
He's such a good director, and he explains things so well in a way that it's very easy to understand exactly what he wants from you. And even in that, he gives you a lot of freedom for you to work with your character, with your principles. He's just amazing, and I don't know if anybody else could have done the amazing work that he has done.
I'm more interested in the education and enlightenment of these young artists, particularly this group, because if you're a junior or younger, the majority of your time at college has, one, been masked, and half of it's been virtual, and you haven't been performing on a stage since high school, so I'm doing more than just directing. I'm kind of getting them up to speed. And I'm glad that I'm here to be able to advocate for them if need be. So I hope that's been helpful for the department, especially the department that did such wonderful things for me in getting me prepared to go out into the world. The training almost felt like I was at a grad school, more so than an undergrad. Having that on my resume meant the training was quality and that the storytellers that came out of there are very interesting. And that was impressive because there are certain schools that are like the Yales and Harvards of musical theater, you know, and those get a lot of focus. It's always been this cool little shining gem in the plains of Colorado. So for it to have that reputation in New York City was, I think, the biggest connection that I was able to utilize until my generation of performers from UNC were able to make a larger presence to say, hey, we went to UNC, now pay attention to UNC. We were part of the group that was like, we're gonna go from New York. So that was actually the biggest connection, was just the reputation of the training of UNC. Really, really worked in a lot of our favors. I love that it worked out. You know, I love that it worked out. I love that I thought of something when I was a kid. My parents continued to support me. I moved to New York, and I love that I'm still doing it and that it worked out. That's a really cool thing to say. So I'm in a position now where I'm directing this great group of talent, and I can hone in on what I think makes them particularly special and nuanced. I hope that they take a more elevated and fine-tuned sense of professionalism and work ethic. So I hope that through my lens as a queer Black man, that everyone has learned something in the way that I approach storytelling, particularly a story that was so important to my generation of performers, that is about an epidemic that has been so important in just our scope as human beings on the planet. But doing that with this generation about that piece and that time period through the lens of a director, my identity, I hope that that means something and that they've learned something from that and provided another possibility of the way that they can receive stories and then tell them.